SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
When banking starts to feel less personal, you know where to find us. Community Bank. Deep roots, local people, personal banking. Visit communitybank.net. Member FDIC.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
Yes, everything is all right this morning. July 2nd, 2026. Good morning and welcome in Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brought to you each and every day by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Everything indeed is all right. We are at a little bit of a lull on the traditional American sports calendar, and what has happened, we have become a proper soccer nation. A proper soccer nation. No, don't give me any of that football stuff either. We are American, and it is soccer in these United States of America. And now everybody is counting down to Monday night when the United States men's national team will take on the Belgians. If you eat waffles between now and Monday, you are part of the problem.
What about chicken and waffles?
Nope, not allowed. Not unless they're good old American waffles. I don't want to hear anybody. No, yeah, there you go. You stick to the Eggos. No Belgian waffles between now and then. Good morning. Welcome in. Glad to have you along for the ride. Last night was fun. Fun. If you're an American soccer fan, if you are a fan of the USA, alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. I hesitate to ask you if you watched.
No, I didn't. I know all about it.
Lance.
Replays.
Lance.
Yeah. I was waiting for the big games, you know.
Well, brother, that was just the biggest one in the history of American men's soccer, so Monday night should be fun for you when you get the biggest one in the history of American men's soccer. It's a phenomenon.
I didn't want to jinx them, man, honestly. I was like, I've kind of punted to this point watching, Americans. It's not that I haven't wanted to, but I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to bring them bad luck, so I'm glad I didn't watch. They won 2-0. So.
Superstitious baseball, man, that's okay. Does that mean you're not going to watch on Monday night?
I don't know, man. I'm going to be able to hold off this time. That was tough yesterday. I was just like, I don't know, man.
So. All right. I suppose I will accept that answer if maybe you're not superstitious, but you're a little stitious, and so you
I
stick with that.
I probably have to hold off on Mondays, kind of the way I feel, but I don't want to watch it and us lose. Then I'll be blamed for it. I got to live with that then.
An incredible scene in Santa Clara, California, just south of, is that right? Just south of San Francisco, I believe. Levi's Stadium. They're calling it, I think, San Francisco Stadium for the World Cup this go around. All corporate, very, very corporate. Some controversy in the game, but an American win last night. And they advanced to the round of 16 in the biggest sporting event in the world. And the celebrations that you have seen from the winning team's fan bases in their home countries has been incredible. And the U.S. is kind of no exception now. We'll talk more about some of the things that they have done as we go through the show this morning. Not going to be a soccer show for 3 hours, not by any stretch of the imagination. But it did strike me last night that so the anthem for this particular team, this particular American team, has become Country Roads. John Denver's Country Roads. Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah Valley, the whole deal. And you hear the final whistle, and my reaction was crank up country roads, cue it up, let's go. Let's go. What are we waiting on? They show some of the reaction. The post-game playlist in the stadium in San Francisco, California. Not in Athens, Georgia, not in Starkville, Mississippi, not in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, not in Oxford, not in Baton Rouge, not in Knoxville, not in Morgantown, West Virginia. The post-game playlist in San Francisco, California. Country Roads by John Denver. Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. Leonard Skinner's Free Bird, and then they crank up Sweet Home Alabama, and the place went nuts for all of it. One thing that soccer fans do, globally, not just here in the United States, it's new in the United States, but globally, soccer fans sing. One of the great traditions in European soccer is, I didn't think I'd ever, is it Liverpool? Where after the game, maybe before the opening kick, the entire stadium sings "You'll Never Walk Alone." And it's really, really cool. Well, the United States has embraced that. Our soccer fans are singing the national anthem at the top of their lungs, not just standing with their hands over their hearts and listening, actively participating. And then you're getting that in the postgame, and it's really, really cool.
You think we're going to have some soccer hooligans, like our own born and bred U.S. of A. soccer hooligans?
No. That stays with college football.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to branch out, because that's what Europe is also known for, having some extremely, some amazing fans. I mean, they follow them everywhere.
Everywhere. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, good grief. There were a couple of thousand Bosnia and Herzegovina fans.
Man, gotta love it.
Last night at that game. They are passionate about it. Very cool. I don't know. We do tend to engage in some hooliganism from time to time.
Well, that's just like the crews, They're just known as the soccer hooligans. They all go. There's just a big group of them. Everybody has a blast. I mean, I would love to go see a European soccer game, in Europe. Like,
agreed.
Oh man, are you kidding me? You're like a NASCAR race. That's kind of on the list, Mm-hmm. We've got to go see that on the infield,
That's right. We hear a lot about how many people hate America, especially in our liberal cities. We got some people that love America, even in our liberal cities as well.
Yeah, seems like it, huh? They may even like country roads and Sweet Home Alabama, too.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be hot today. Oxford, near 95 degrees with a heat index going up to 103. Sunny with just a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. My mom sent me a video from home yesterday. It was about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. She's like, it is storming. And it was one of the abnormal storms where it blew in from the east instead of coming from the west. A little bit of hail mixed in. It was getting after it. Going into tomorrow on the 4th of July Eve, July 3rd tomorrow, going to be about 75 overnight. Starkville, 96 for you today. Heat index 109 this afternoon. Mostly sunny with just a 20% chance of showers, mainly this morning, actually, in Starkville. Hattiesburg, you are going to be 97 degrees with a heat index around 105. Going to be sunny and hot. Bay St. Louis, almost a carbon copy for you. 93 degrees with a heat index at 105. Sunny, slight chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. Overnight low tonight, 75. Across the entire Magnolia State, hot and humid. Heat indices in the mid-100s. And then scattered storm chances. Those are actually going to get greater as we go a little bit deeper into the week. But for the most part, I say deeper into the week. I mean, that means Friday and Saturday. But for the most part, today looks dry and sunny.
It's like, basically, that's hog smoking weather. You could just sit it out and let it slow cook.
You don't even have to dig the hole and put the coals in the hole.
Yeah, just sit it on the concrete. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. Join us if you'd like on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. 879-4395. Check out cspire.com. cspire, customer inspired. Morning, fellas. No work today, so why am I up this early tuning in? Also, we occasionally want to see Lance's pretty face. He seems so animated. That's from Joseph in Pontotoc.
Thank you, Joseph. I am very animated. I watched some Looney Tunes, and we got a great text from our boss last night. As Richard says, we may want to break in country roads. Willie sends us a nice gif of the Dumb and Dumber comment made as they're in Nebraska. And so I'm like, man, I got to watch Dumb and Dumber now. So I watched, it's about midnight to 2 a.m. I watched Dumb and Dumber. So goodness, I love that movie. What a funny one.
From Jonathan, morning, fellas. Heard you guys talk about golf recently. What's your favorite course to play in the state of Mississippi? Dogwoods in Grenada was one of my top. That's a good spot.
Wherever I get a lot of birdies, yeah.
There you go.
Doesn't matter to me.
Old Waverly for me. It's there are a lot of great golf courses across the state of Mississippi. For me, it is Old Waverly in West Point, and it's not particularly close. Love hearing from you this morning. The state of West Virginia bought and owns the legal rights to the song Country Roads by John Denver. Well, then they're being paid great royalties if that's the case. We got lots for you this morning. We're back right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good morning from the
When they ask where you heard it, you tell them.
I know you heard it right here.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Here you go, way too fast. Don't slow down, you're gonna crash. You should watch your step. Don't look out, gonna break your neck. So shut your mouth. 'Cause I'm not listening anyhow. I had enough of you.
Good to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on this Thursday, July 2nd, 2 days before we celebrate the independence of the United States of America, our 250th birthday. Medgar Evers was born on this day in 1925, the American civil rights activist from Decatur, Mississippi. He was the first field secretary in Mississippi for the NAACP, was assassinated outside his Jackson home in 1963. Thurgood Marshall was born in 1908, the pioneering American lawyer and civil rights leader. He was the first African-American justice on the United States Supreme Court and argued landmark cases, including Brown versus Board of Education. Lindsay Lohan was born today, 1986, the American actress and singer, first rising to fame as a child star in films like The Parent Trap and Mean Girls. We have watched The Parent Trap, the newer version of The Parent Trap, somewhere around 100 times at my house. Good solid one for kids. The beautiful Margot Robbie was born on this day in 1990.
Thank the good Lord.
Australian actress. There's some that would say Leo DiCaprio was the star. You might say she was the star in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, that was a great casting call.
Even better casting call, Margot Robbie as Barbie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Have you've done the Barbie movie? No, okay.
No.
Yeah, she looks like Barbie though.
My girls went.
Mm-hmm.
They loved it, I think. Alex Morgan, one of the all-time great American soccer players on the women's side, she was born in 1989, gold medalist, World Cup champion, former star with the U.S. women's national team. The great Dave Thomas, born on this day in 1932, businessman and the founder of Wendy's. He was pretty good on television.
Excellent triple cheeseburger, too.
Yeah. And the great Richard Petty, born on this day in 1937, a seven-time winner of the Daytona 500, one of the most successful drivers in racing history.
Love the cowboy hat, too. Just set it off right.
Yeah, he's not faking it when he wears the cowboy hat. It's pretty authentic with him.
You had the big feather thing on the front. I mean, it's like a belt buckle up there.
Yes, sir. Today in 1776, the Continental Congress in Philadelphia adopted Richard Henry Lee's resolution declaring that the 13 American colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. The vote paved the way for the formal Declaration of Independence, which happened just 2 days later. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 into law. The landmark legislation prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin in public accommodations, employment, and other areas. Considered to be one of the most important civil rights achievements since Reconstruction. One of the great mysteries in aviation happened on this day in 1937. Amelia Earhart, along with her navigator Fred Noonan, are heard from for the last time before vanishing over the Pacific Ocean during an attempt to fly around the world. Their disappearance remains one of the great mysteries in the history of aviation.
Purdue's on it, though.
Just gone.
Yeah, Purdue's on it. They think they know where they are. The South Pacific, a very remote island of Nikumaroro. I had to look that one up. I couldn't remember the name of it. But apparently that's where they think she is, and they've kind of, triangulated there and feel pretty strong about it. Haven't confirmed the remains, though. So they're on the trail. That
seems like a long shot at this point.
Ooh, yeah, you'd think so. They found all kind of little things, though, that add up, if I remember correctly.
Okay. In 1881, President James Garfield was shot at a Washington, D.C. train station by Charles Guiteau. Lingered for 80 days before dying. The assassination leading to major civil service reforms. I guess that means the level of protection around the president grew.
Yeah, that dude, Guiteau was crazy, too. I mean, he tried to elbow his way in to the administration with Garfield and never would get the job, so he was kind of upset about it. Yeah. And took a shot at him, but he was crazy, buddy, let me tell you.
In 1890, Congress passed the Sherman Antitrust Act, the first federal law to limit monopolies and cartels, laying the foundation for modern antitrust regulation. If you go way back to 1644, during the English Civil War, parliamentary forces under Oliver Cromwell achieved a decisive victory over royalist troops near York, marking a major turning point in the conflict. And in 1839, enslaved Africans aboard the Spanish ship La Amistad rise up, killing the captain and seizing control of the vessel off the coast of Cuba. The event became a significant legal and abolitionist cause in the United States.
Great movie, too. Amistad with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of his big early movies, and I thought it was very well done. Kind of breaks your heart seeing things like that happen, but boy.
My buddy Tate sends me a message. He says, Garfield being shot led to the line of presidential succession laws. Mm. So this is how we're going to succeed, and I guess maybe the advent of the lone survivor, perhaps, at that point as well?
Yeah, his ascension was so interesting because he was just kind of farming. He'd kind of not necessarily given up politics as far as nationally, but he was just running as a representative. Went to the Republican convention. Nobody wanted to elect Grant or any of the other guys, so some dude, one of the lowly legislators, like a young guy, throws his name in the hat, and after hammering out vote after vote after vote for hours upon hours, the consensus shifts dramatically to Garfield. And he wins the Republican nomination. The rest is history.
Little known fact, originally his plan for vice president was Odie, but they changed their mind. News headlines for you this morning. A Benton County woman will spend more than 4 years in prison for defrauding a program aimed at helping workers during the COVID-19 pandemic out of over $1.4 million. Court documents reveal that Patricia Jones, 44 years old, submitted false and fraudulent IRS forms to obtain Employee Retention Credit Funds, ERC funds. ERC was designed to encourage employers to continue to pay their employees during COVID. while COVID was spreading rapidly across the United States. The defendant is said to have submitted forms on behalf of herself and others, attempting to claim nearly $4 million in fraudulent refunds, ultimately generating over $1.4 million in payments to herself and to other folks. After pleading guilty to her involvement in the scheme, Judge Sherian Aycock sentenced her to 50 months in prison and 3 years of supervised relief. She is also ordered to pay back more than $1.4 million to her victims. Think she's got the cash to do that? An officer-involved shooting is under investigation after one was injured near a Biloxi casino yesterday. The Mississippi Department of Public Safety said that officers with the Gulfport Police Department entered into a brief pursuit with a white van traveling at a high rate of speed. Gulfport PD then terminated the pursuit with the Biloxi Police Department working to initiate a traffic stop. The chase ended near a boat ramp close to Treasure Bay Casino and Hotel. According to DPS, the driver then discharged a weapon at officers, resulting in officers returning fire. The subject struck, transported to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. No law enforcement officers received any serious physical injuries. MBI has taken over the case, and they will turn over their investigation findings to the Attorney General's office. Mississippi's first human case of West Nile virus this year has been confirmed. Case confirmed in Hancock County, the victim's name and age not released. West Nile virus is primarily transmitted through the bite of an infected mosquito, or as Jimmy Buffett said, mosquito. According to the CDC, around 80% of people infected with West Nile never develop any symptoms. Roughly 20% who are infected develop a fever with other symptoms such as headache, body ache, joint pains, vomiting, diarrhea, or rash. No fun if you end up with West Nile. No fun at all.
Sounds like the side effects of most drugs you hear today.
Yeah?
I was just saying, that people maybe you're kind of normalized by it. Not me. It's kind of.
You hadn't had West Nile, have you?
No. I'm just saying, anytime I hear those side effects, all those drugs, man, it's like, woo, good Lord. That sounded like the side effects of drugs. Like, oh, man, nobody wants that stuff.
A couple of more news stories for you, then we'll get into your morning sports update when we come back. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.com.
SuperTalk, Mississippi.
You heard it here first.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Here comes the news.
There's a wild and snowy spring and I can't remember the last time that I seen her. The highway's still cold and wet and I can't forget the way I had to leave her.
Pleasure to be spending part of this beautiful July 2nd Thursday morning with you. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. The C Spire text line is open to you. 601-879-4395. The One Plan from C Spire is here. Fiber home, internet, and wireless. Only $99 a month for new and current C Spire customers. One plan, one price, one experience with zero compromises. Get started now at cspire.com/oneplan. C Spire, customer inspired. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. A couple of more news headlines for you. These are good ones. Auto Parts Manufacturing Mississippi, APMM, is investing $53 million to expand its operations in Lee County, one of the leading parts suppliers in North America for the Toyota Corolla, which is manufactured in Blue Springs. Started by Toyota Auto Body Japan in 2007, the company began production in 2011. They specialize in metal stamping injection molding, plastics, and robotic welding. The expansion will support increased production capacity at the company's Guntown operations through the purchase, installation, and renovation of production equipment. The company expects to add about 28 new positions resulting from the expansion over the next 5 years. And more than $51 million is coming to Mississippi for major infrastructure projects. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith announced yesterday that the funding is headed to Rankin, Hancock, and Harrison counties for various road and parking improvements. It's coming from the U.S. Department of Transportation through the BUILD program, better utilizing investment to leverage development. $24 million to Brandon for its U.S. Highway 80 capacity and safety improvements project. That's roadway, pedestrian, and intersection improvements on Highway 80, including the addition of one westbound lane, installation of a raised median with designed left-hand turn lanes, and sidewalk construction. $22 million to MDOT for an I-10 freight corridor parking availability system and truck parking expansion project. It'll take the current parking capacity from 20 to about 74 spaces. And $5 million to D'Iberville for its Mallet Road Intermodal Corridor Improvements Project. Hold on, is there an acronym there? MRICIP.
Got to be.
Mr. ISIP. So the Mr. ISIP project in D'Iberville getting $5 million. That's widening Mallet Road from Lamy Bridge Road to Daisy Vestry Road from 3 lanes to 4 lanes. Putting in a crosswalk and improving the intersections as well. Your morning sports update is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. You've got golf at Dancing Rabbit. Not one but two 18-hole championship golf courses, the Oaks and the Azaleas. It's hot, but they'll make sure you got plenty of water. You can still enjoy the beautiful golf courses there. And if you want to cool off, you can join Lance at Geyser Falls Water Park. He will be camped out in the lazy river.
That would be awesome.
He will be in an American flag Speedo.
Definitely.
If you are looking for him, that's how you identify him.
Yeah, cowboy boots also.
Cowboy boots, cowboy hat, and an American flag Speedo just floating around chanting USA,
USA,
USA, USA, while sipping on a Modelo.
Yeah, all-American beer.
Speaking of USA, 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 the good news, the United States men's national team beat Bosnia last night 2-0 in the World Cup, round of 32. The bad news, if the Americans are going to continue, they are going to have to do so without their top goal scorer in the next game. Not because of an injury, no, because of a questionable red card that was issued last night. Folarin Balogun scored what proved to be the decisive goal for the United States just before halftime. It was his third goal of the World Cup, but was then sent off just after the hour mark in a controversial decision that will have him out for the game against Belgium. Here's it's kind of like targeting in college football. If you are not a soccer fan, that would be the best comparison. If you get ejected for targeting in the second half of a college football game, you miss the next game. In soccer, if you receive a red card, you are ejected from the game in which you are playing, and you must miss the next game as well. Balogun was huge for the United States early. The red card came after he collided with a Bosnian defender just inside the attacking third for the U.S. Both players were on the ground initially, but then the referee, Rafael Claus of Brazil, was called to monitor the play by the video assistant referee. That's VAR for soccer fans. After watching the slow-motion footage, Klaus determined that Balogun had raked his cleats down Maramovic's leg and onto his foot and ankle, sending him off for a serious foul play. Balogun looked shocked. He trudged to the sideline. He was consoled by his teammates. A one-game suspension, standard for a red card at the World Cup. This story says the United States is likely to appeal. FIFA has said there is no appeal process for a red card during the World Cup. Deal with it, they said. The internet last night was full of people who have become so incredibly accustomed to the litigiousness surrounding college football, saying surely there is a judge that can put an injunction in place that would allow him to play in the round of 16. I don't know. I don't put a whole lot past the American legal system.
Do you think they could jump in and like that? I don't know. It'd be interesting if you had a judge just show up, be like, "No, he's playing." Everybody be looking around like, "What is this go? How does this work?"
Where's James Boasberg when you need him? Balogun's the fifth American to receive a red card at a World Cup, and he's the first to score a goal in a game and then receive a red card. First for any country since Zinedine Zidane in 2006. And here's the other thing. It's not just penal because you lose your player. You lose that spot on the field. So you are down a man. The United States played the final almost 40 minutes of that match with just 10 players compared to the 11 on the field for Bosnia. The Americans ended a 10-game losing streak last night against European opposition. They will now face another European side, Belgium, with a chance at revenge. The Belgians knocked them out of the 2014 World Cup in the round of 16. So if you've got a long memory, you know it's a revenge game. Yesterday was another exciting day in the World Cup. You had, in the early game yesterday, England winning 2-1 over the Congo. Harry Kane for England scored 2 goals in 11 minutes in that match.
That's the guy I was telling you had the curse put on him by the witch doctor from Ghana. And Ghana witch doctor told him, you're good now. You can score goals again. And so he scored 2.
Did you see the okay.
No, that was actually a real story.
What's the Halloween song? I called the witch doctor, and this is what he said. He said, ooh, ah, ooh, 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 ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, wada, wada, bing, bing. Got the whole thing going for him. So, good thing to get the witch doctor around, I suppose.
He had some, white powder he was blowing, too.
Yeah. Belgium beat Senegal 3-2. The United States 2-0 over Bosnia and Herzegovina last night. 3 games today to determine the final 3 spots in the round of 16. I guess if we just completely Americanized the World Cup, we would call it the Sweet 16. Spain and Austria this afternoon at 2. Portugal and Croatia tonight at 6. And then in the late night game from Vancouver, that's right, Canada is also hosting games. Switzerland and Algeria. Next match for the United States comes your way on Monday night. Tickets as low in Seattle as $2,572.
It's a cheap ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, not for me, but some people out there could afford that. I mean, if you're a soccer lover, you got to buy it, though.
I would, maybe if you love the USA, you got to buy it. Long way to go to get to Seattle, USA. Former Southern Miss skipper Scott Berry is being formally recognized for what he produced on the baseball field, being announced as a member of the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He will join 6 of his peers in the class of 2027. 23-year veteran of Southern Miss baseball, 9 years with the program before taking the reins as the head coach. Went on to become the all-time winningest coach in Southern Miss baseball history. 14 seasons, 528 wins, 9 NCAA tournaments, 2 super regionals, 7 consecutive 40-win campaigns to close out his time. 16 All-Americans, one of the all-time great guys in the state of Mississippi. Congratulations.
Good morning from the...
What can be offered to you?
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Information.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Your Mississippi Lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery online at mslottery.com. That is mslottery.com. Be sure to check out the Mississippi Lottery website, but you can also download the Mississippi Lottery app. It is free on your smartphone, and you can keep up with everything that you need. There was no Powerball jackpot winner, but a $2 Powerball ticket with the $1 double play add-on was purchased at Market Max in Malcom. Matched 4 out of the 5 white balls, plus the Powerball and the double play drawing to win $50,000. Double play is a $1 add-on that gives player numbers a second chance at a second drawing. But because there was no jackpot winner, Powerball grows once again to $396 million. Next drawing coming up on the 4th of July. That is Saturday, with an estimated cash value of $180 million. Tomorrow night, you have the most recent Mega Millions jackpot drawing, $542 million in the kitty, with an estimated cash value of $242 million. Don't forget the Lottery Claims Center will be closed tomorrow in observance of the 4th of July holiday. The office and Claims Center will resume regular business hours on Monday. Happy 4th of July, they say to you. Let's see here. Had a Birmingham, Alabama man passing through Mississippi, bought some tickets at Sprint Mart in Fulton. It was a good investment. Cash for scratch-off, $22,481 on 4 tickets that he got there. It's a pretty nice payday in the middle of the summer. Take care of that vacation, and I don't know what else.
Make another round trip from Birmingham back to Fulton.
Yeah.
Cut into that a little bit.
Afford the gas that he paid
exactly.
for when he stopped as well. That is your Mississippi Lottery update online at mslottery.com, mslottery.com.
I would love for them to actually, when they have those big winners that are coming through from some other state and they win here, I would like to have a little bit more of a backstory, like were they coming over here to pick up a dog, or were they, was it a family reunion or something? I think that would be cool to know. It's always, you got a lot of folks coming from other places that win nice amounts here.
Yeah.
I was curious what they were up to.
Might have been on his way to talk about a man about a horse.
Exactly.
You never know.
You never know.
I know it was up against the break just a second ago. So excited for Scott Berry being named to the ABCA Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. You have to have coached and been a member of the ABCA for a minimum of 15 years. And their criteria is to have made significant professional and personal contributions to the ABCA, contributed to the advancement of baseball at the local, national, or international level, and exemplified high moral character, ethical standards, excellence, and leadership. Check, 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 and check for Scott Berry.
They say he's one of the good guys, one of the great guys of the game. Period. And Southern Miss seems to keep hiring those types as well. No offense to any other program, but they've got a long list, of just amazing coaches. Mm-hmm. And I played against the Hill Denson years, against Hill. What a great coach and fun guy to play against. And then you had Corky was right after that. He was Meridian. He had been there for a while and had amazing success.
Yeah.
Scott Berry, and then now
joined Corky Palmer's staff after being at Meridian himself, and then had a great run as head coach, and now Christian Ostrander carrying that torch as well. It's a great baseball community, and the only thing that I would correct you on, and not really a correction, I'm just kind of being play on words here. You said one of the great guys in the game. You can take in the game off of that. Yeah. He's just one of the great guys.
And I mean that. He's just a great guy. Yeah. All of those, all of them that I came across at Ole Miss or at Auburn and playing, Southern. I always had a blast. I mean, they're just amazing hospitality when you'd go down there, too. Didn't matter who's coaching.
Yeah. A couple of things we didn't get to yesterday in the sports world. Brendan Sorsby, the presumed quarterback at Texas Tech this past year, who was ruled ineligible because of the discovery of his gambling addiction and betting on his own team when he was at Indiana, etc. Jeffrey Kessler is his lawyer, and Jeffrey Kessler has made a career out of suing the NFL. They threatened to sue the NFL and the NFL Players Association, of which Sorsby was not a part. That has all been settled. Sorsby will now focus on getting ready for the 2027 NFL draft. So he's got a year to do so. Assume that he will stay healthy.
Hopefully he doesn't know where the mobile gambling sites are either.
Will have a lot of time on his hands. Says he's going to continue to work on his recovery. Says he accepts 100% responsibility for his actions. Did not have control of my gambling problem, and it took me getting caught to realize that, but it was truly the best thing that could have happened because of this. Been able to get the help I need and fully focus on my recovery.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
The monitor switch lets you hear breaking news.
SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Breaking news this morning. This, reportedly is from the President's Truth Social. Fowler and Balogun, a truly wonderful player, was given a red card today that was ridiculous, so unfair that many people are calling it the worst call in the history of soccer. FIFA, once a great organization, has become a total disaster under Gianluigi Infantino. I'm pleased to report that Infantino has been detained by the brave men and women of ICE and is on his way to a beautiful El Salvadorian prison. As we speak, we will not tolerate corruption on American soil. Make soccer great again. DJT. It's a spoof.
Yeah, it has.
But it's a good one. Probably not the only one that we will see today. Mornings with Richard Cross, 7 o'clock hour. Welcome in. If you have made us part of your morning routine, thank you. We appreciate that very much. Love hearing from you on the C Spire text line. The number is 601-879-4395 if you would like to join the conversation. Mornings is presented by Community Bank. Ever notice how some places still know your name? At Community Bank, that's how banking works. We're a bank that knows community because we live here. When you walk in, you're more than an account number. No matter what your banking needs are, here you will talk to people, real people, who care about your goals. Community Bank, a local bank built on relationships. Stop by your neighborhood location or learn more at communitybank.net. That's communitybank.net. The 7 o'clock hour brought to you every day by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today. The number is 601-206-7966 or go to mwgemployerservices.com. Have you heard about the egg controversy? You familiar with that, Lance?
Not really, no.
Price fixing within the egg industry. It is a big story. There is a deep dive on this that was published in the Wall Street Journal earlier this week. On December 19th of 2022, executives from America's 3 biggest egg producers jumped on a call. The subject? How do we keep the prices of eggs high? Christmas was just a few days away. The chief executive of Arizona-based Hickman's Egg Ranch had an idea for how to push an industry benchmark for eggs higher, according to a Justice Department investigation. If Hickman's and other big egg companies all bid aggressively for eggs on a wholesale market exchange, they could raise a key pricing measure that influences the prices shoppers pay in grocery store. The 3 egg companies that were involved were the previously mentioned Hickman's Egg Ranch, Cal-Maine, and Versova. Cal-Maine is a company that is now headquartered in Mississippi. And yesterday, I believe it was, Cal-Maine has reached a $1.5 million settlement with the DOJ following allegations of price manipulation. Additionally, Cal-Maine will donate 30 million eggs to food banks across 17 states as part of the agreement. The overall settlement with the 3 companies, Cal-Maine, Versova, and Hickman's Egg Ranch, was $3.3 million, with a donation of 53 million eggs. I don't know if that's 53 million eggs leaving the factory or if there's somebody that's going to open the lid on each egg carton and kind of touch all dozen eggs to make sure none of them are cracked. Because if you deliver a cracked egg, it has to be thrown out. I mean, are we talking 53 million gross eggs or 53 million net eggs? Because the net's going to be way lower than that, right? I mean, 1 out of what? Every 3 dozen eggs has at least 1 that's broken? Do you do that when you buy eggs, Lance?
Like open it up and look?
Do you open the top and make sure all 12 of them are in good working order?
I do, yes. Because, I mean, I need 6 at a time. I mean, I'm going to eat 6 eggs if I'm going to scramble them up or make an omelet. So I can't work with 11.
Yeah, do you buy the dozen or do you get them like the 18-pack or do you get the big square?
Yeah, just the 12, the dozen. And get 6 at a time there. Get 2 helpings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't work with 11.
I understand. I mean, it matters, right?
Do y'all go with the crate, basically? With the house full? Do
we do
y'all
not.
Eat eggs?
I discovered that somewhere along the way, and I was like, man, this is a great value. Mm-hmm. We should be doing that. And my wife said they don't taste as good. They taste different. She said, I recognize that I don't know who the producer of these is. She thinks that the Eggland's best eggs taste the best and prefers the brown ones as opposed to the white eggs.
Yeah, I like the brown ones best.
Yeah.
Eggland's best. But I remember being in Oxford for a long time. There was a lot of folks up there that had chickens and sold eggs and stuff. I didn't know. Have you ever done the local produced stuff? I haven't. I've always wanted to try, good 12 eggs from a local producer.
Yes, actually I have. In fact, guy that I got to know when we were doing a renovation on our house, Kevin. Kevin is a regular, maybe even daily listener to Mornings with Richard Cross. And Kevin has chickens. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, say maybe once every couple of months, he brings by a dozen eggs.
Nice.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I bet.
The yolk is extra yellow. Here's what I didn't know, and he had to explain this to me the first time. He said, you don't have to refrigerate the eggs, Richard. And I kind of looked at it. I was like, whoa, hold on a second now. My entire life, eggs have gone in the refrigerator. It's what you do. You put them in the refrigerator so they don't spoil. And he said, no. He said, when you take fresh hatched eggs, there is a kind of a membrane on the outside of the shell that protects them and allows them to stay out kind of on your counter at room temperature for a week or two. You're good to go on that. Whereas when you buy eggs at the grocery store, that membrane has been washed off, and so that extra layer of protection is gone, and you've got to refrigerate them.
Gotcha.
And, I mean, I've tried it that way, and they seem to work. Nobody got sick from it. Nothing spoiled. No chickens growing inside the eggs as opposed to having, the runny yolk and egg white in there.
Well, I'm in, man. I like the natural stuff. I love brown dairy too. I mean, their milk.
Oh, they're
Good
great.
Lord, that was so.
You know what else is good? Not just their milk, and I get it's kind of the same thing. Their ice cream.
I've never had the ice cream. Yeah, the chocolate milk. I could just sit there and drink the whole thing, though.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Isn't it? It is outstanding. The Brown brothers out at Brown's Dairy do a phenomenal job. Really do. And I'm sure there are other local dairies across the state that do a great job as well. They're just the ones that are in my backyard.
Yeah, those are the ones I know. I'm definitely not trying to leave anyone out.
No.
Y'all give me a holler.
I wasn't suggesting.
Give me a holler. I'll try out anything that we grow here in Mississippi.
So the settlement with Cal-Maine, according to them, follows a 15-month-long investigation into allegations that the three egg companies engaged in a coordinated effort to use the avian bird flu outbreak of 2025 to artificially inflate egg prices, causing shoppers to have to pay more for products at the grocery store. They were part of a cooperative with two other companies, but officials say it exited in May of 2024 prior to and unrelated to the initiation of the price-fixing investigation. So their defense, or at least in part, was, well, yeah, we used to do that, but for this particular case, no, we weren't involved.
Yeah.
And yet they're paying $1.5 million fine and donating 30 million eggs to food banks, which is good on them for doing that. Sherman Miller, the president and CEO at Cal-Maine, said, "We are pleased that this agreement enables us to move forward so we can devote our full attention to what matters most, delivering affordable, high-quality eggs and egg-based prepared foods to consumers nationwide while helping ensure a reliable domestic supply of a nutritious, everyday staple that families depend on." 17 states sued the three companies. Mississippi was not one of those states. Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Hawaii, Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, North Carolina, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Wisconsin. But again, Mississippi not part of the lawsuit. Don't fix prices. That's no good. Dr. Dan Edney joins us next.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show. Check it out.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, communitybank.net, rooted in our community. Thanks for joining us alongside Lance Tolbert. I'm Richard Cross. Happy to welcome in our first guest this morning. He is Dr. Dan Edney, our state's top doctor, the state health officer with the Mississippi Department of Health. Dr. Dan, the medicine man, good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Doing well. Always appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
I want to throw you a curveball right out of the gate. There was a story a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, that we looked at. There's a medical division of Google. It's called Verily. And they have requested permission from the EPA, I think, to release 64 million sterile mosquitoes in Florida and in California. And they're injected with some sort of pathogen in a lab, and they're sterile, and then they go out and they mate with wild female mosquitoes, who are the only ones that bite. And the theory is that the females lay eggs, but the eggs don't hatch, and it reduces the mosquito population. They've tested this in a couple of places with pretty good results in terms of reduction of mosquito population. As a health professional, is this something that makes sense to you, that you like the idea of, as we look at our first case of West Nile? We've seen what Zika can do, dengue carried as well by mosquitoes.
Right. No, absolutely. Richard, good grief. Anything that'll reduce mosquitoes is okay with me. And you may know that the way we're attacking, the screwworm issue in Texas and southwestern states is the same thing. We're releasing sterile males, have been for a long time, for decades, into the wild, who mate with women, with the females, and then they don't reproduce. And that really knocks the screwworm fly way down. It's how we got it under control in the 1970s, and then we stopped investing in it, and then made a bounce back. But that's how we'll get it back under control. So it makes absolute good sense to me.
Does it cause your antenna to go up? Because I know some of our listeners, and I'm not saying tinfoil hats and black helicopters, but given what we went through with COVID and some of the revelations that have been there, when you hear created in a lab and injected into mosquitoes and then released into the public, there are a lot of people who are like, hold on a second. The last time we went down this road with lab-created stuff, it did not go particularly well. That's not concerning to you?
Well, those weren't American labs, as you know.
That's true.
A little bit of difference between American labs and rogue Chinese labs. If I pivot to what the FDA and the EPA think in terms of safety and efficacy, and that all has to be demonstrated. Again, we know that with the screwworm larvae, this is how we control it. Makes sense that we can do that with mosquitoes, and if we can do it safely and effectively, that will be huge. Do you know what the number one killer of people in the world is every year?
Are you about to tell me mosquitoes?
Yes, malaria. Wow. Malaria kills more people worldwide than anything, and that's all related to mosquitoes. And, how did we get yellow fever under control in Mississippi? How did we get the mosquito-borne illnesses under control? We did a lot of mosquito eradication and control, and it paid dividends. So it needs, they need to be able to demonstrate safety and efficacy, to the FDA and the EPA, and then we'll go from there.
And we think this is better than the old school mosquito trucks that spray that mysterious gas into the air as they kind of drive around the city. It's like you would have. I'm going back to my childhood. Like the guy would drive along in the ice cream truck where he's playing the little song, and you could go get the rocket pops. And then 10 minutes later, the mosquito truck guy would come along, and he's just putting that smoke into the air.
Oh yeah. As a 64-year-old man who grew up on Altamary Lane in Greenville, Mississippi, I chased the mosquito man every evening, as all the kids did. I survived that. I think I'll survive whatever we're looking at doing and releasing sterile mosquitoes.
How much of your job is a crossover between looking at humans dealing with things that are happening in the doctor's office in terms of crossing over with the agriculture industry and things that are happening there that affect people in Mississippi?
Yeah, we call those zoonotic illnesses, and it's a big deal for us. But the zoonotic illnesses, that means illnesses in animals that can cross over to humans. That we follow the lead of the Board of Animal Health and work with the Agriculture Commission. They're taking the lead on monitoring for screwworm. We do whatever testing they need us to do. We worked very closely together, with the highly pathogenic avian flu that got into the cows. Thankfully, we got through that without any difficulty. And then we do a lot of monitoring of the mosquito population to see what these bad boys are infected with.
Yeah.
And right now we're okay. We know we have West Nile. We've had our first West Nile death in Hancock County this year. We know that that we have dengue that comes in through travel. We don't have any endemic dengue, but we have to watch for it. But we do know that Florida, Louisiana, and Texas have had endemic cases of malaria. So we have to watch these things to keep Mississippians safe. Right now we're good. Our mosquitoes don't have all that crazy stuff, but we keep a watch on it.
Dr. Dan Edney is my guest, State Health Officer with the Mississippi Department of Health. I did not anticipate going in this direction, but you got my mind turning a little bit. I've talked to people lately. I guess to set the background, we see more people who are lactose intolerant, more people who have this adverse reaction to glutens than I think we have ever seen before. And it's created this entire industry of gluten-free products and lactose-free products. I was having a conversation with somebody not too long ago who has to monitor very closely gluten in their diet. But they just had a vacation to Italy, I believe it was, and said they were able to eat pasta, breads, and other things and had no reaction at all. What is different in European or overseas foods than what we are ingesting here in the United States?
Yeah, Richard, I think we do have way too much ultra-processed foods, and that is not good for us as a population. And I do appreciate HHS working in those areas. First of all, we had to define it and not just call it something, but really be able to define what does that mean, and then apply proper regulatory practices that make sense, that don't constrain the diets of Americans more than they want it to be, but be able to educate Americans. Here are the things that you really need to stay away from, because these things really pound our gut microbiome, and also making sure that we're not overusing antibiotics, which is a very big deal in terms of impacting the gut microbiome and can impact, gluten issues. So just working with your doctors to understand what's going on and why it's going on.
I think I certainly feel like if I ate the way a lot of Italians eat, with the amount of pasta and the amount of bread, add 100 pounds to me. But they don't. Largely they are in better physical condition than we are.
Yeah, their obesity rates are significantly less than ours.
Yeah. Dr. Dan Edney is my guest. We'll get into more mainstream topics. I just was kind of curious as we visited this morning. We are getting close to the start of the school year, which is crazy. Our calendar has changed, and August 1st, sometimes last week in July, is the beginning of school year, and so that has lots of people thinking about vaccinations, what kids need, whether they're starting kindergarten or pre-K for the first time, or maybe they're in that 6th, 7th, 8th grade window where there's some updates to booster shots that need to happen. What do we need to be looking at in terms of vaccinations for school-age children?
It is, and it matters what grade and what age in terms of what they need. We have a lot of our children are needing to be called up as they're entering kindergarten or first grade, and it's okay to do that in a staggered fashion. You don't have to do everything at one time. You can work with your physician or provider to do whatever is best for your child. We believe very strongly at the health department that parents know their children best, and asking questions are what great parents do. And so talk to your doctor about what's required, what makes sense, what's necessary. But it is our best way to keep our children protected. We do have multiple counties that the vaccination rates have gotten too low, which worries me in terms of measles outbreaks. And what really worries me there is, our infants just don't have the same immunity protection that the older kids do. So we've always protected our infants by the community being immunized. So we just have to work through these things together and make sure we keep our babies safe and our younger children safe.
Dr. Dan Edney is the state health officer with the Mississippi State Department of Health. We'll continue the conversation on the other side of this time out. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the Seabrook.com inside track on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
I've got a new age girl. Tell us what she's like. Environmentalist girl. Does she ride a bike?
Good to be with you. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. I feel like Lance always has special music for you, and I'm not sure when I'm supposed to let it play for a while and when it's like, yeah, let's just jump right back in. But
and let me give my friendly reminder I always do. Colonoscopies are now at age 45 for screening.
I feel like you just spoke directly to me, Dr. Edney.
You can't wait to 50 anymore, Richard.
Okay.
Let's get it done.
I am 45 and a half at this point, so
you're late.
You're eligible.
I will schedule that and get it. Is that something that we could do live while I'm on the radio?
Well, Katie Couric did it. She did it on video, though.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody will see that, but maybe hearing that would be...
if you didn't take any sedative, we'd hear it real well.
Yeah, which is not a great plan?
Not a great plan.
Okay. Maybe I'll just tell people about it after the fact. I need to schedule it. I'm not one that's like afraid to do stuff like that, but I don't know that anybody just looks forward to it either.
So, Richard, what's important, no one should die from colon cancer. It's a preventable cancer. We just have to do our screening, and we've dropped it down from 50 to 45 because we've seen the age of those polyps developing younger. We still don't know why that's developing, probably related to diet, but we do know, we're catching more cancers by dropping it down to age 45.
Yeah. Dr. Dan Edney, my guest, he is the state health officer. I want to go back to the vaccine schedule that we were talking about before the break for school-age children, different age children. We love labels. You're an anti-vaxxer or you're a pro-vaxxer. I feel like in the couple of years that you and I have been visiting, I've heard a little bit of a change in the way you describe it. I'm not trying to assign a label to you, but I feel like the way you talk about vaccines has changed a little bit, where you are encouraging parents to make the best decision for their children in consultation with their doctors, as opposed to just trying to slingshot, go do this, go get these vaccines, this is what your child needs. Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, yes. We believe in shared decision making, and you need to do it in consultation with your physician, not with Facebook. And it's really important to do that. Richard, no one knows what diphtheria is. Diphtheria was deadly in the 1920s and 30s. It killed scores of babies in Mississippi. And there's a diphtheria outbreak in Australia right now. No one has ever seen a case of tetanus in Mississippi. We've not had a case of polio in forever. Polio and tetanus and diphtheria are still out there in our environment. Measles, mumps, rubella is still out there in our environment. There are certain diseases that will just kill your child, and that's different than just trying not to get chickenpox. You get diphtheria, we're going to have a hard time keeping that child alive. Tetanus, probably not going to be able to keep that child alive. We're going to work hard at it. Polio, once you have it, the damage is done. So there's just no need for those devastating illnesses. That's what vaccine preventable diseases are. There is no way I'm going to allow my grandchildren to be at risk for things that I know can and will kill them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and I've had an old bug this last week that, man, if there was a vaccine for it, I'd take 2 of them.
Just can't kick it.
There's just some nasty bugs out there that I just soon not have to get anymore. They won't kill me, but they're not fun. So work with your doctor.
There's nothing worse than being sick when it's hot outside.
I
don't know why that makes it worse, but it does.
It does, and it's too dang hot.
Well, I don't know if there's a vaccine for that.
There's not. I'd take it if there was. Now, what I do want to touch on is the fact that heat-related illnesses are a big deal in Mississippi. Everybody needs to know we have 1, 2, or 3 children who die every year related to heat. It's usually accidentally left in a car. So we have our Look Back campaign. Before you get out of your car, if you have a child or grandchild, look back. Just remind yourself to look back. We want our bus drivers to always clear the bus to make sure no children fell asleep on the bus. You know, the temperatures escalate extremely high really fast, and we lose a couple of children every year. And, you know, we lose about 30 Mississippians a year to heat-related illnesses.
What about, I mean, we get the warnings this time of year. Hey, don't be outside if you don't have to. Be sure you hydrate. Try to stay indoors. But for a huge population in Mississippi, maybe more than in most states because of the agricultural industry, the landscape industry, there are just so many people that are outside or our outdoorsmen that love being outside so very much. They're going to be outside. Is there a precaution or two that could make all the difference?
Yeah, a great example is MDOT. You know, the highway workers they have to keep working through the day, but MDOT takes good care of them, keeps them hydrated, has shade, and farmers know how to do it. My first paying job was chopping cotton in Stoneville, Mississippi, and the old guys taught me how to stay cool in a cotton field. You know, and I survived it. But you have to think.
What was the secret?
The secret was hydrating, wearing long sleeves and long pants, and a broad brim hat, and then drink water. And then the young guys like me would cheat and drop under the cotton plants and cool off because it was about 20 degrees cooler under the cotton. But I was driving home last night, and it was about 6 o'clock. I was getting home, and our neighborhood was full of landscape folks cutting grass.
Yeah.
And it was 97 degrees, and I know they had to work, and I know they know how to work in the heat. A lot of folks don't. So if you don't have to work in the heat, do not get out and cut grass in the middle of the day. Get up early or wait till late in the evening. If you are going to play golf in the middle of the day, hydrate, leave alcohol alone if you're going to be out sweating hard in the middle of the day, and make sure you got plenty of shade. And know the warning signs of when it's getting to you. If your face is getting really red, if you're sweating profusely, if you're starting to feel weak, and the real danger signal is if you stop sweating. You stop sweating, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Is there an adjustment period? Are people who work in the heat on a regular basis more able to handle the oppressive heat than those who primarily work in an air-conditioned office?
I definitely think so, but they don't take it for granted. They just do the things they know they need to do, or they're going to get overheated. If they're not doing what the foreman's telling them to do, then the foreman's not going to be happy if they swoon and faint because of the heat. I tell you, I was on a national state health officer call this week, and the state health officer in New York was talking about how hot it was in New York and all the heat-related illnesses they had. And I listened to him for a while. I said, buddy, it's 99 degrees in Mississippi today. And I guarantee you, we're handling the heat way better than New York is handling it at 90 degrees.
Yeah. I said that would be at 75% humidity with a heat index of 108.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Last thing, I have not talked to you since this. Obviously, it was an incredible honor for your name to be associated with running the CDC. Ultimately, you stepped away from that opportunity. I was thinking about how to even bring this up. How hard would that job have been?
It had been really, really hard, especially just going in cold. I run a large agency now with a big budget. That's a much larger agency with a much larger budget. That wasn't the challenge so much as maybe the politics of public health right now. And after I went through my interviews, I was really grateful. I mean, if the White House calls you to ask if you'll interview, you say yes.
Sure.
But after I got through, I was really impressed with many of the folks I interviewed with. Met some really interesting people, had some interesting conversations, made some relationships that are beneficial to us in public health in Mississippi. But I realized, I said, man, you're in a pretty good spot. I told everybody from day one, I love my job. I'm not looking to go anywhere else. I will consider and then depend on what the Lord is leading me to do. But I love my job, and I've got good political relationships in our state. I've got good relationships with the healthcare industry and the physician community. I've worked hard these last 4 years to cultivate that, and
are we making progress?
In what respect?
Overall health in Mississippi.
A little bit, but it's progress we hadn't seen in 20 years. So we've moved. In the last 4 years, 4 years ago, we were like dead last so far back. We really would have been 60th if there'd been anybody else to get in our way. But we have now closed the gap and went to 50th and then to 49th and 48th. And I've never been so proud to be 48th anything in my life.
Incremental.
Dr.
Dan Edney, always appreciate your time. Wish you and your family a happy Independence Day weekend, and look forward to the next conversation.
Thank you.
Our State Health Officer, Dr. Dan Edney, joining us in studio this morning. We will wrap up the 7 o'clock hour with you. Coming up next, it's MRC on SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's do it.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Take this wine and drink with me. Let's delay our misery.
Appreciate Dr. Dan Edney spending some time with us this morning on Mornings with Richard Cross right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. A pleasure to be with you. If you would like to join the conversation, you may do so on the C Spire text line. The number is 601-879-4395. Again, 601-879-4395. Hey, parents and kids, don't miss the C Spire Back to School event. It is 1 week from this Saturday, July 11th, in the Renaissance at Colony Park in Ridgeland. Tons of free family activities, including tie-dyeing, life-sized yard games, ice cream, loaded teas, and more. If you're going to looking to give your child a phone or a watch for school this year, this is a great place to start. You can get exclusive back-to-school deals on kids' devices and parental control set up with your local C Spire Blue Shoe crew. Don't miss out. You can learn more details at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired. Lance, you send me lots of things. I know you're convinced that I don't watch any of them.
Yeah,
I am.
That
is not true. That is not true. Now, my watch rate might be... Well, it depends on the frequency. When you get on a roll and you, pop off 6 videos to me, hey, you need to watch this.
I try to make them short ones, though. I know your attention span is pulled in many directions.
I probably get to somewhere between 2 and 3 of those. But if it's just like a one-off, hey, this is pretty funny, I'll usually watch it. You sent me one that I like more than anything else you've sent me this morning.
Which one was that? Yeah.
The what your childhood was like. It was a walk through the 70s of how being a kid was different then than it is now.
How good is that? I mean, and that is exactly my childhood. That's the thing, is nobody asked me. They just remembered, and put that out there in some AI format, which really cool.
So what year were you born?
74.
Okay, so I'm 6.5 years behind you. Mm-hmm. I was born in November of 80. And a lot of the stuff in that video, was that a big wheel?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. It said it was made out of solid plastic, and it sounded like a blender full of rocks going down the road. And the only way you wore it out was when the front tire literally disintegrated.
Yeah, it just fell apart,
Big wheels were awesome. When's the last time you saw a big wheel?
Oh, I don't know, man. I've seen a few floating around in some yards. When you go through the backwoods, sometimes you'll catch them out there. And but yeah, you don't see the big wheel much anymore. You don't see the metal Tonka truck. That was had one of those. That thing was a rust bucket when I got done with it.
My sand toys as a kid were all Tonka, and they were all metal. I had the truck. I had a bulldozer, and I want to say there might have been a backhoe. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But they were great.
Oh, man, you couldn't tear those things up either. And one of the thing about we were never inside. That was one of the funny things about that. And our parents lived in a great neighborhood. You weren't really worried about anything back then. The simplicity of life, where you could just, your parents were like, all right, get out of here. Go. See you at dark. And it was like that.
One of my favorite summer memories, there were, in the neighborhood that I grew up in from the time I was 8 until the time I was probably 12 or 13, there were a couple of vacant lots kind of around the corner and down the hill. And we got to summertime one year and we said, hey, let's make our own baseball field down there. We didn't ask the person that owned the lots.
But that was not necessary back then. Yeah, we did the same thing.
Yeah, for the most part. Now, I think we got into it a little bit, and somebody was like, I don't know if there are houses that sit there now. Obviously, it's not an option. But we built a baseball field, and we had a tree house or a fort that we, like neighborhood kids, built.
Oh, yeah. Man. Our neighborhood was under construction pretty much all the time. They were always expanding, and going a little deeper. And
that meant there was lots of lumber available.
Lumber everywhere. The wood piles.
Scraps.
Scraps. Yeah, we had such great forts. Had the baseball field across the street from my house. It was a vacant lot. There's a home on it now, but we even had a little backstop in it, So
yeah,
it was awesome. Good old days.
Let's see. Drinking from a water hose.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You had a little metallic rubber, taste to it. Yeah, never went inside to get water.
No, the smart play though was to let it run for a little while. You finally figured out that why is it so hot initially? It's like, the sun was cooking the hose with the water that was just hanging out in the hose. Once you flushed that out, you could get some pretty refreshing breaks.
Definitely. I mean, the hot water was always a way to, basically cleanse yourself as well, because you'd been out rolling around in the mud and then, in the woods, you got ticks all over you, red bugs. That was the first spray, was just to get off all the junk. Then you started drinking from the hose,
Yeah. JR says, I got a whole fleet of metal Tonka trucks for my grandkids. So you can still find those. Okay. Somebody said, unfortunately, there aren't as many vacant lots as there used to be, it doesn't seem.
No.
You're right about that. What about the green machine with the handbrake for the back wheel so you could slide?
That's the upgrade, right, yeah.
Okay. Almost got killed riding a big wheel down a steep paved road in Alabama when I was 10. Oh, we're back with you, 8 o'clock hour on the way.
Since you're up early, you get the news first. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
I'll find myself a new place. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to do your sleepwalking.
8 o'clock hour, Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Thank you for joining us. We are presented every day by Community Bank. When it comes to money, trust isn't automatic, it's earned. That's why Community Bank does things the old-fashioned way. When you come to us, we take the time to listen to you and discuss any questions you have. Whether you're saving, spending, or planning ahead, you'll find bankers who know the community because they are part of the community. Community Bank, banking designed with you in mind. Visit us in person or online at communitybank.net. Glad that you're with us this morning and thrilled to be joined by our friend Malcom Reed, the foremost griller in the state of Mississippi, probably the entire Southeast, and maybe the entire state, United States of America. His website is howtobbqright.com, and if you go through YouTube and you watch the videos, one, you should, because they are incredibly helpful, and two, you're going to see a staggering number of people have watched those videos. Malcom, my friend, nice to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, man. Richard, how's it going?
Man, life's good. We are at the beach this week. You are at a place where the water is far cooler. I think on a river in Arkansas, I believe, to celebrate America 250 and the 4th of July weekend. What a great weekend.
Man, it is. I'm watching the fog roll in off the river now. The water's good and cold. It's hot here, though, man. Arkansas is hot this week.
Certainly is. What, as folks are thinking about grilling plans this weekend, it's one of the, I guess, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and then Thanksgiving for different reasons. Maybe the three biggest, we're going to gather around the pool or the lake or at the beach or whatever. We're going to get the grill out and we're going to work. What do we need to be thinking about?
Man, so I've got a big weekend plan, but I think, for me, the number one thing on 4th of July is probably ribs.
Okay.
I mean, that's just something I think that we've always cooked as a family. Is we've had a big rib cook on 4th of July, but this year we've got a hog we're going to cook. We've got some brisket for some folks coming from Texas. So we've got a pretty big, July 4th extravaganza planned here.
Let's talk about a whole hog just for a second. A lot of different ways you can do it. There are people that just put it on a grill. There's the occasional rotisserie, I guess, that goes along with that. And then you've got the kind of old school dig the pit and bury it on top of the bed of coals. Talk us through your process on cooking a whole hog.
With ours, we just, the most important thing is the pit you're going to cook it on, being able to control the temperature, keep it pretty steady. So once you have something you can cook it on, it's not that hard. So ours will probably take anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. We've got a small roaster hog. I think it weighs about 80 pounds, so it's not like a 24-hour cook.
Okay.
But what we typically do is we kind of lay it on its back and then trim it up a little bit so it'll lay flat. It's almost like spatchcocking, if you will. We kind of go down the backbone and we open it, that hog, so it lays out. And then we like to put injection in it because, it's a real dense piece of meat. You've got the hams, the shoulders, the loins, all the different parts, and you want to get flavor in all those. So what we'll do is we'll mix up about 3 or 4 gallons of injection, and we'll just try to spread that out. And injection, it's kind of like if you think of a brine where it's a salt sugar solution, it's got some spices in it. Usually, you can use water, apple juice, something like that. We don't overly salt it or overly sweeten it. We're just trying to get some flavor down in the meat. And that way, you're carrying some goodness all the way through the animal. Then we, season the outside, rub it down with a little light coat of mustard, get our barbecue rub on it, and then we cook it at about 225 until it's done. It's usually, in the hams, you want to see them hit, you want to hit those shoulders about 195, and the trick is to keep the loin down around 145, 150, so you got to slow it down. And the way we do that, we pack sausage or chorizo or bacon or something all down that inner cavity of it, and it protects those loins. And as that meat renders down, it flavors it more, so it just makes it succulent.
I'm assuming the brine recipe and the instructions on how to do a whole hog, you got those in video form, and they're on the website as well. So it can be a step-by-step process. How intimidating or how intimidated should somebody that has never done even a small roaster hog before be about doing it the first time?
Well, it seems like it's a daunting task, but it's really not. A lot of your work goes in on the front end, getting that hog ready to put on the pit. So if you just take your time and, clean it, we call it cleaning it up. We're just trimming off any of the sinew or the excess fat. We're trying to get it down to the meat where you can create a bark on it. Okay. We like cooking them on their back, so they're belly up. That way it kind of creates this bowl to catch all the juices, and that keeps the meat really tender. So once you get it all injected and seasoned up and you get a couple guys to help you get it on your pit, the work's over. All you have to do is maintain the fire. And so I think that's where people kind of go wrong with the hogs. They don't give themselves enough time. And so they end up having to push it and get it done because, everybody starts showing up and they're wanting to know when the food's going to be done. And, you still got this hog that's nowhere close. So and I think that's why a lot of times you see people say it takes 24 hours to cook a pig. If you'll go ahead and give yourself that amount of time, you can always knock those coals back when it gets done, have it covered up with a little aluminum foil on the grill and just keep a low heat on it, and it'll stay warm for hours in there. That way you're ahead of schedule, and when it comes to taking it off, it's time for the pig picking. That's where you set it out, and you just get somebody there, and as people come by, you just pick them out some shoulder and pick them out some ham and let them try all the different parts.
I was going to ask if that's your presentation method. You lay it out and let it be a pick and feast as opposed to people coming by and fixing a plate or cutting it up and putting it out differently for a presentation.
That's how I like to do it. I mean, we do garnish it up. We want it to look good. We'll make it pretty on a table. But then we'll just have tongs sitting out there and let people come. Because, you get people, some of them want the jowl. Some of them want the belly. Some of them want the skin. So, there's all different good parts. That pig's edible from the rooter to the tutor, they say. We could use every bit of it. So.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Tell me more about the pit. It's kind of what I said from the outset. They're different different ways that you can cook, and that you can have a big grill that's got a big flat grate, or what do you use? And do you build a pit?
So I don't build them, but I've got a buddy. He's actually from up in Indiana, and he makes some of the finest hog pits there are.
Okay.
And the latest one that we've been cooking on, I know you're familiar with the drum smokers.
Sure.
The upright drums. It's pretty much the size of two of those put together. And it's got like a hinge lid that covers both of them, so it's kind of oblong. The overall length of it's probably about 48 inches, maybe just a hair bigger, but it's perfect. It's plenty big enough to put a whole 150-pound hog on.
Okay,
and it just makes it easy. So if you think about it, you've got fire baskets below it, to where you can control fire underneath the shoulders and control fire underneath the hams, and then it's got one big lid that lifts up, and you can just kind of set the hog on the flat grate. That's all there is to it. We don't turn them. We usually just cook them skin side down the whole time. We can adjust the fire if we need to. It does have a spinning rack where you can take it, bring it up, and spin it and set it back down. So it's called an outlaw smoker.
Yeah,
and he's got several different ones, but he's got a new hog pit that's pretty daggum. It's going to be hard to beat that hog pit.
You're going to have to forgive me. I'm not at home this weekend, and so I don't have my normal grill set up and all of my tools. But we are going fishing Friday morning, going offshore fishing. And my hope is that we're going to bring back a haul that we can cook Friday night or Saturday night before we come home. Help me out on some ways to go about that, whether it's grilling or going to the oven.
So one of my favorite things to do when I'm down there is when you go catch the red snapper, tell them you want your snapper throats. And if you can get a charcoal grill, I found a Weber kettle when I was down on, we like to go down to the Orange Beach area.
Sure.
And the condo we were in just happened to have a Weber kettle, but you could go to any little store that has those little square grills. You can usually pick up one for about $30 this time of year.
Yeah.
They make great. And then all you need is some charcoal. Get you a good bed of coals. But with the fish, man, I'm a really big fan of leaving the skin on it. We call it on the half shell. So it really doesn't matter whatever species you catch down there, which I assume it's snapper season. You're probably going to catch a bunch of snapper. They do really great on the half shell. Yeah. So you can get it. And even the redfish,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a grouper or two being mixed in. Those are not quite as available right now, but you get one of those red grouper out in the Gulf, and man, that's a lot of fun too.
They're delicious, but man, I keep it simple with them. Melt a little butter, brush it on there, have your little charcoal fire. You don't want it ripping hot. You want a good medium hot, and you can just put that fish right on the grate or lay some aluminum foil down and lay it right on it. Brush it with butter, a little bit of seasoning, and just squeeze lemon. That's all you need, man. It's so good, fresh out of the ocean like that.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to steal too much of your time. Have you got a few minutes that you can hang with me through the break, or do you need to run off and prep a fire?
Sure.
Awesome. Let's keep the conversation going. Beautiful. Everybody else is still asleep at the house right now, right? Malcom Reed, the website is howtobbqright.com. You can check out his YouTube channel. The videos are absolutely fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more with Malcom on the other side of this break. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. We're back right after this.
From the Venable Glass
with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
It just takes some time to little girl in a little everything will be just fine.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. This is our final day of the work week. Tomorrow, across SuperTalk Mississippi, you will get Best of shows. Malcom Reed is my guest. He's going to be on a future Best of show for this morning. I promise you that. Malcom always Appreciate your time. Let's step away from the cooking just for a second. 2 weeks from today, 14th Annual Palmer Home for Children Radiothon. It is an organization that you have been incredibly generous to, you've been involved with, and not just on Radiothon Day. I know we're excited, and I know you are as well.
Absolutely. Anytime we get a chance to help out the Palmer Home, we've been supporting them for a long time because of SuperTalk. I would have never, gotten involved with them if it hadn't been for JT and the Radiothon. And, man, we've been fortunate enough that, they're headquartered in Hernando, which is my hometown now. And we just get the opportunity to, every time they have something come up, to just help them out in some form or fashion, man. And we love it, Well, it's a lot of fun. They're doing great things out there, and it's really a beautiful place.
It's a special day. It's a beautiful campus. I always walk away encouraged by just seeing kids that are coming from all different backgrounds, and all of their circumstances are difficult, though they're different from child to child, and yet their view on life and the happiness that they seem to have found at Palmer Home is infectious, and love what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Forgive me for sounding like a shill. I am not trying to sell you Malcom's products right now, but I will tell you that I use them. I'm a big Killer Hogs fan. I have grown to love the steak rub. I use the all-purpose seasoning a lot as well. But I don't know what the difference is between the Killer Hogs seasonings and Malcom's seasonings. Is there a difference?
So the Killer Hogs is more of the barbecue line of stuff that I originally started with. As I got to going and making videos, I realized I'm cooking a whole bunch of different things. So I was like, man, instead of calling everything Killer Hogs and, being affiliated with barbecue, like what about it when I'm cooking Mexican food or I'm cooking Italian food or, I love to cook jerk style stuff. And so I just kind of came out with those lines, and we called them the Malcom's line. Because it's just stuff you have in your pantry to cook other things. There's like if you're making chili or tacos or anything like that. I've got a Cajun seasoning, for all the good Creole Cajun type dishes and stuff that I do. And I think it was just a different way to differentiate it from the barbecue side of things a little bit.
I just wanted to make sure I was putting my nickels and dimes and quarters in the right pocket. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that was ending up in your pocket regardless. You've been so incredibly good to us at Palmer Home. I love supporting Mississippi-based companies, but on top of that, the product's got to be good, and yours is just fantastic, and you've always been gracious with your time. We are not far from football season. I know it feels like it's 326 degrees outside right now, but we'll blink and we'll be to the beginning of September. Is fall your favorite time to cook out?
I don't know. It has to be. Fall has to be the ultimate because we're kicking off hunting seasons. We got football season going. The weather's starting to, break away from that brutal summer heat. But, I say that. It seems like in Mississippi that we get 90 degrees all the way up to Halloween now. So it's like October,
Yeah.
I know some of those tailgates, man, they get pretty warm still. But, yeah, I love it. I love that time of year. And I think, to me it's so social. Like I get together with my buddies, whether we go to a game or we go to somebody's house, and we're always, cooking and cutting up, having a good time, and I just love that. It's a lot of fun, special.
I know you've told this story before, but when did this go from a hobby to a career for you?
I would say it was probably 2008 because I was working in the architecture field. And we had the recession, and so a bunch of us got laid off at the company I was working for, and I just so happened to. My wife had me doing this newsletter talking about barbecue, and we got a nice little severance there, and I had some money to make it on for about a year, and I said, well, it's now or never. If we run through this and I don't make it doing this barbecue thing, I can go back to drawing buildings. And so me and my wife jumped in, and we just haven't looked back since then.
Has it grown in a way that is more than you ever could have imagined?
Oh, absolutely. I never would have, I never dreamed that anything like this was possible. I mean, you know, I remember when we hired our first employee. He was like, man, can you believe this? We're working from home, but we've got enough business where we had to have one employee, and I think we're up to like 14 now. And, you know, it's like grown into this whole thing where we ship stuff all over the world. And I was like, man, this is just incredible. It just started on something that was a hobby that I just loved doing, had a passion for.
Yeah. I want to go back to where we started. Even though you are doing a whole hog, you said ribs are what is most synonymous. I know you have shared your recipe and your process for Malcom's ribs a million times, but people always want to hear that. They always want to be reminded, hey, what's my best way to go about doing ribs where everybody's going to love them on the 4th of July?
Yep, well, so what I'm doing this year are baby back ribs. A lot of people, you know, I love spare ribs too, but just so happens that we bought baby back this year. So first thing I do is when I get them home, you know, keep them in the refrigerator till the day you're going to cook them, of course. We take them out of the package and we pull the membranes off. I don't like leaving that membrane on the back. It kind of acts as a barrier. It's going to block smoke. It's going to block flavor. And then when it cooks, it kind of gets chewy. You know, you don't want to be biting into your rib and you got this chewy piece of film on the back. So just take the time to pull those off. When it comes to seasoning ribs, you can do whatever you like to do is what I tell people. I mean, for me, I'm going to put a little bit of my AP seasoning down, which is that salt, pepper, garlic. I'm going to hit it with a thin coat of mustard, rub that in a little bit, and then I'm going to season it with my barbecue rub. It's a little on the sweet side. It's kind of like balance. It's going to give it a real pretty color. Then I'll let those sit while I fire up the pit. Now, for cooking ribs, I like to cook them between 250 to 275, a little bit hotter than you would think, but they need to render that fat in them. You don't want to eat pockets of fat in that rib, so you got to crank that heat up just a little bit. It's still smoking. I like to use a little bit of hickory, maybe some fruit wood in there too to give it a little sweeter note, like an apple or cherry, something like that. And then when you get your grill up to temperature, you just lay those ribs on there, meat side up. And I start them out. They're going to go about 2 hours in the smoke. And what I'll do is I'll come check on them about 40.
Naked, right? Yeah. We're not wrapped at this point. When they first go on the grill,
not wrapped.
Just the meat. Gotcha.
Just the meat side up. You want to get that smoke on them. That's what's going to give it flavor. While that meat's warming up, it's really absorbing smoke flavor, so you can get some really authentic, hickory, little cherry, little apple notes in there. But once it gets to a certain temperature and like the color kind of dries out on the outside, starts making that bark, that's when you want to wrap them and get them tender because you can over smoke them at that point.
Okay.
So you don't want to put any more wood on once they get there. And that's usually after about 2 hours on a rib. And so you might need to spritz them a little bit, and you can make up a spritz of anything. It could be plain water. It could be apple juice. It could be a combination of whatever you want. But that's just to keep them from drying out during that smoke process. So about every 45 minutes, just peek at them and give them a little spritz if they look like they're drying out. And once they get the right color on them, they start turning dark, and they look, you can take your finger and rub on the outside, and the seasoning doesn't come off. Everything's adhered. That's when you want to wrap them up and get them tender. So what I like to do is just take out usually a double layer of aluminum foil. You just want it a little bit longer than the ribs. And then I'll lay the meat down. Usually I'll put a little bit of butter in there. Like you can cut some pats of butter, lay on the backside. You can, if you like them sweet and sticky, you can sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on there, drizzle them with honey or a hot honey. I like to do that and give it a little spice. And then you just wrap them up and get them right back on the pit. And this time they need to be meat side down.
Okay.
So what that's going to do is that's going to let them render. It's going to keep the meat down in the juices as it's cooking in the foil, and it's going to keep them from breaking apart. Because if you have them flipped over the other way, gravity is going to kind of break them up. It's going to make them want to break. But we don't want them to break. We want them to hold together. And so once you get them wrapped and back on, they're going to take. I usually tell people about an hour and a half. That's going to get you a really good tender right before fall off the bone. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't really want them to fall off the bone. Everybody says they like fall off the bone ribs. You want them to hang on the bone. You want it to where it comes off the bone when you bite it, but not when you pick it up. I don't want to leave my meat on the plate and I'm sitting there holding the bone.
Has anybody got a fork I can use?
That's not good barbecue. You want it to when you bite it, you're holding it up to your mouth and you take that bite and all you see is your teeth imprints and it's just soft, succulent, juicy meat. Man, it doesn't get any better.
All right, one point of clarification. When you pull them off and you set them on the foil, you said meat side down there. If you go to add Some of that honey, that hot honey that you were talking about, are you adding that to the backside?
So usually I really do it to both. I'll when I lay them on the foil, I'll kind of put them kind of off center, meet up, and then I'll doctor that top side. Drizzle them with the little honey or sprinkle them with brown sugar. Put you a few pats of butter down, flip that rib over on top of it, and then do the same thing to the bone side, the back side.
Gotcha.
Exact same thing.
There you go. That is a winner. And it is in my future, even if it's not this weekend. Malcolm, I can't thank you enough for your time. Always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Richard. Hope everybody has a happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. Malcolm Reed, howtobbqright.com. Check his videos out on YouTube. I'm hungry.
From the Seabrook with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
We've had a lot of conversations with Malcolm Reed through the year, and I probably have given lip service a time or two to, oh, man, that sounds so good. I've not had enough to eat yet this morning, and when he was describing the rib process, even though I have heard it a dozen times, my mouth started watering.
Yeah, it's like don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry, and don't listen to Malcolm Reed when you're hungry holding a show, because my stomach is just rolling.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man.
About 3.5 cups of coffee in, and it's like, man, if I could grab a couple of ribs that were left over out of the refrigerator right now.
Yeah, he just made me feel holler.
Good gravy. And, what a super, super human being as well. Just generous and kind and talented, and you want to talk about living his dream. That's cool. Have you ever done a whole hog?
Oh, yeah. We the guy up at our camp, he had hogs, down there in the south part of Mississippi, and he brought one up years ago and had a whole trailer cooker he had built. This is probably 20, 25 years ago. And threw that whole hog up there. I sat up with him for probably about 16 of the 20 hours he cooked it, and it was amazing. Once we pulled the first piece off, it just took a poker and pulled back the meat all the way down the back, and he handed that to me. I never had pork like that, It just melted in my mouth. I'm like, all right, that's enough. I'm going to have to eat pork for the rest of my life now. It was the most amazing thing I've ever had. And
it's just so good.
Goodness. I mean,
just so good.
I've had, eaten quite a few of the little small hogs, as he was talking about. But I love the concept of kind of spatchcocking it. That was cool.
Yeah.
I always learn something listening to him.
Well, and when you think about a pig roast, you always think about the pig being belly down on the coals, and you kind of slice it across the back when it's time to serve it. But that's a little bit different way of doing it. I'm guessing that Malcolm has tried both ways and has decided that this is the best way. So who am I to argue?
Yeah, I'm not. And I love as he was talking about fish too, as far as leaving the skin on. That's way to go. I love that. I love
cook it that way, and then
goodness,
yeah.
And what a life, though. I mean, give me a break. The guy gets to go around and have a blast cooking, putting smiles on people's faces, living the dream, the one you want.
It's great.
Yeah, I love it. And I wish you would promote his products. I shamelessly love his stuff. So I'll say, buy it all.
Yeah, and I mean, just honestly, I use them. I've been a Lowry's guy forever, like the red top, white label Lowry's, and I don't know that I'll ever stop using that to some degree. But I have a combination of Lowry's and Tony Chachere's and Killer Hogs, and that's what I use. Just period. In terms of seasoning, unless I'm doing like kind of a honey citrus on salmon, I kind of use that across the spectrum, regardless of what I'm cooking. And then, if it's sometimes I add a little olive oil, kind of as a base, as a starter before I go. But you can use Malcolm's all-purpose and completely skip on the salt and pepper, so you don't have to go in and individually do the salt and the pepper and, the garlic. You can just use that combo from his and get a good coating. And then if there's anything you want to add, his steak rub is just spectacular. Not too spicy, good flavor, good coating on there and just. I'm not making it any better when I say that I'm hungry, and now we just keep talking about this. So let's talk about this. Love knows no heights.
Ooh.
At least for a couple yesterday that decided to scale the top tower of the Empire State Building yesterday. And they did so with a trust that their skills were going to get them to the top. They needed no harnesses, no rigging, no anything. A daredevil couple scaled the antenna yesterday, and when they got to the top, they unfurled a banner from the top of the Empire State Building. Now, to their credit, I can't remember. It was the power of love. It's like when the power of love outweighs the
love of
power, then we live in peace, or something along those lines. Very
philosophical.
Very utopian of them. Angela Nicolau and Ivan Birkus, not their first foray into the spotlight. They were the subject of a 2024 Netflix documentary called Skywalkers, a love story that was about their roof-topping exploits and their budding romance. So, 1,454 feet above the streets of New York City and Midtown Manhattan, this couple scaled the top. They were spotted by news choppers, and, you had them up there, and it's like, what are they doing? Are they going to jump? What does that banner say? Oh, wow. And after they had gotten to the top, they scaled back down to the platform. At that point, law enforcement was on the way to get them. And cameras captured him, Ivan, going down to one knee and proposing to Angela, or Angela, if you prefer.
Angela.
We'll go with that.
I hope it lasts, because
it's a love story.
Yeah, well, when you get it, you fall in love over crazy situations, you got to kind of keep that intensity up, right? Or somebody gets bored.
Yeah, they came down. One set up a piece of photography equipment, got down on a knee. They kissed, they hugged. The other took a selfie with an outstretched hand examining the ring. Police emergency services officers started ascending a ladder in the spindly structure that is the antenna to intercept them. Police body camera video showed an officer calling out a greeting and explaining, well, you can't be up here. And off camera you hear a voice that says, we are engaged.
That makes it okay.
Well, maybe not entirely.
Over in Russia, they get pretty bored, apparently, because there are ample videos of people like that just climb everything in sight. If it's tall, they're on top of it.
They are waiting arraignment on burglary, reckless endangerment, and other charges. Not immediately clear whether they had attorneys who could speak to the allegations. What do you think? Do they get jail time? Or do they get a little fine, a little misdemeanor slap on the wrist, perhaps a reprimand from the judge, and get to go on about their business?
They're influencers, right? They're social media influencers.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
You got to give them a little time
you got to give them a little time in the clink, just so they can, have an experience to post about.
Fair enough, but knowing what is allowed to go free by judges and district attorneys, who's charged with what and when, I think I could make a pretty compelling argument that while these two endanger themselves and they caused resources to be expended in going to apprehend them, though it wasn't a rescue operation, they came down on their own. They didn't try to avoid being arrested, I can make a much better case for a slap on the wrist and a little fine for this couple in love than I can for some of the violent offenders that we see allowed to go free on a daily basis, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'd throw them in the clink just so they could have, like feed them like filet mignon, and they'll put out a great post like, if you're going to be in jail somewhere, this is where you want to go.
Let me tell you, Rikers Island is the greatest prison in it. Do they get to share a cell, or are they separated?
Ooh, yeah. Can't get in between love, man.
Hold on a minute. I feel like I need to... I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to read that before I read it. You just know that daredevil couple will end up with one explaining how the other fell to their death and the possibility of accusations of murder. Well, Mose, that's an awfully negative view of this situation. Fortenberry said, coming in on the end of this conversation, could you give me that website one more time? Yes, I can. It is howtobbq, as in barbecue, right. And you can just do a Google search for Malcolm Reed, how to BBQ right, best rib recipes, best whole hog recipes. They got it all. And it is just spectacular. So check it out. Get some ideas for the weekend. We get to wrap the week up with you coming up next.
With dark hair and soft skin.
From the Venable Glass.
Or on your smart speaker. We're always free. SuperTalk Mississippi. Your home for mornings with Richard Cross.
I was lying on the grass a Sunday morning of last week, indulging in my self-defeat. My mind was thugged, all laced and bugged, all twisted, rolling beats. Uncomfortable on 3 feet deep.
One last time with you on this Thursday morning on the eve of the 250th birthday of the United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and the greatest internet memes of any civilized nation in the world.
Oh, by far.
Oh, my. Oh, just... And after the United States win last night over Bosnia and Herzegovina, we have a new Marco Rubio meme that couch sitting pose where he has been so many different things. He was first the Secretary of State. He became the Shah. He has been football coaches, and now we have Marco in a full-on American soccer uniform. Marco finding out that he is replacing Balogun for Team USA for the rest of the match after Bosnia paid off the referees. Just so good. You have one where you're in the penalty kick portion of a soccer match. You've got Marco, the president, and Fat JD of meme fame. Penalty kicks against, Gavin Newsom is playing in goal for a team made up of Gavin and Joe Biden and Obama. It does not go well for the guys in blue jerseys. It's worth a find. Oh,
yeah, the ball to the face. Definitely, Gavin would not have enjoyed that. Yeah,
no, much less 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. That's going back to the plastic surgeon.
Those are worth your while. This is actually not a meme, although there were memes that came from it. Yesterday, And in North Dakota, you had the official grand opening of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. And the full crew from Washington, D.C. went. Donald Trump was there to speak. He spoke admiringly and glowingly of who Teddy Roosevelt was as a man, a man's man, about what he was as a president, and really good stuff there. And a beautiful library facility. No, it does not look anything like the monstrosity in Chicago that just opened earlier. Well, I guess it was last month. There was a funny moment, though, during the Trump speech yesterday. I don't know if you saw this or not. He was talking about the Medal of Honor, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but the gist of it was, I really want to award myself a Medal of Honor. We have my two beautiful sons here. I asked them, have I done anything that would merit me receiving a Medal of Honor? And they thought, and they couldn't come up with anything to tell him to say, yes, this is why you should receive a Medal of Honor. And he said, I'm really not very pleased with them right now.
Yeah,
he wants all the medals and all the awards.
I
even
put
if
up
he has
with you
to give
guys.
them to himself.
Yeah, you could have said, I put up with you guys. That's worthy of it.
I suppose.
Yeah, you know how sons are.
Yeah.
Busting your chops a little bit.
We'll leave you with this morning. We will continue to talk about midterm elections between now and November. Really, really tight races. And in the Senate, where Democrats need a net gain of 4 seats, net 4, to take control of the Senate, you've got 6 pretty darn competitive races. In Iowa, Democrat State Representative Josh Turek just 2 points behind Representative Ashley Hinson, who is backed by Trump. In Alaska, Democrat Mary Peltola 2 points behind incumbent Dan Sullivan in a hypothetical Senate showdown. That's with 45% and 47% respectively. In Ohio, Democratic former Senator Sherrod Brown 3 points behind Senator John Husted. 47-50 roughly in those. They're all within the margin of error. And, man, it's going to be something. The 6 states where you've got the most competitive Senate races, Alaska, Iowa, Maine, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas. And by the way, the results of all of those based on polling from the New York Times and Siena say if the election were today, Republicans would have the upper hand. 2 things. The election is not today, number 1. Number 2, Lance, I think I've decided I'm going to die on this hill. The price at the pump will determine whether Republicans have the majority in the Senate or Democrats do. Is that oversimplifying it?
No, not at all. Sometimes it's a single issue.
If it's $3.50, Democrats will take the majority in the Senate. If it's below $3, closer to $2.50, it will be Republicans, and they do it without a whole lot of sweat. Thanks for being with us. Happy birthday, America. America 250, Independence Day, 4th of July. Wish you all the best. Thanks for being with us.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.